Hello, everyone. This is Katie. Thank you for joining me tonight. We are going to discuss something that was recently posted on my Facebook. I had a few choice. I don't like when people censor speech. I don't like when I write a comment. Someone deletes it because they don't like what I have to say because they don't agree with me. I believe that's what Democrats do. I want to start this video off saying that. I believe that's what people that don't believe in the Constitution as it is written and believe that people should be able to voice their opinions and have robust debate do. The same goes when people don't want to share our content because they feel that I'm mean, and I'm okay. Like, the one thing I'm okay with is you all, whoever you are, thinking that I'm mean because I am coming at you with facts. I'm not attacking, or I'm questioning you about something that you've done or that you advised or whatever. I'm a pretty honest person. I'm just going to ask you because we're human. There's no, But I last night commented on a video that I watched that I wholeheartedly think it is going to be used to manipulate and deceive people. There's a picture, and I'm going to put it up after I edit this right here, of Sabrina Warner standing in front of House Representative Kevin Miller, and you see Kevin's hand by her face and her doing this, proud moment of sticking up to somebody. Now, after watching the video, I realized as a woman, I need to put this out there. She stepped at him as soon as he realized that what she was doing trying to make him, he stepped back immediately. And then she continued to pursue him and be very close with him. And I understand why I understand why everybody's upset. But there's a lot said in this video that I'm going to show you, but instead of just sitting here blabbing and telling you all my opinions, I am going to play it and I'm going to stop it at certain points. And, we're going to dissect this video, since Jake and Sabrina Warner are such honest Republicans, and, everybody else is attacking everybody else. It's not this faction of people who are state central committeemen in their county attacking their representative for voting with 22 because they're listening to all the clout chasers and not listening to both sides of the argument. And believe me, you can call me Democrat. I don't care. I've been a Republican since I was 18. And what I don't like is the fighting, because it's going on in my county as well. Because a person that these people ran as promise keepers, the person that was in charge of that organization, well, at least his address is on that organization's website as a contact, is John Morrow, who also was a part of the state central committee meeting and all of the madness that's been going on with these promise keepers. And not that I think the promise keepers are a problem, but I think you guys are coming in to government not understanding how your role functions and thinking you're going to come around here like the tiny tyrants you call other people and, shame, demoralize, and without even approaching people. But like I said, let's get into this. I could go on all day. And if you all think I'm mean for this, that's fine. I don't care. How about that? But let's watch this.
He seems to be able to unite the Central Committee better than the previous one. So we're excited about that. Since we just got elected last August, our first meeting I think was September.
Yep.
And on our very first meeting, we passed the Brendan Shea resolution, which means the Republican Party stands against the Title IX BS that Joe Biden's doing, sexualizing of children, and this transgender, gender fluidity. Republicans are against that. Basically, is what the Brendan Shea resolution says, and you may say, well, what's the point of a party passing a resolution? Well, we believe it means that the candidates should fit in that mold. If you say you're a Republican, you should know every Republican candidate is against sexualizing children. The party that does that, that's the Democrat Party. If you're into that, that's where you should go. That's what this resolution said.
So first we talk about the Brendan Shea resolution. And the Brendan Shea resolution was a resolution to basically say that we are not enforcing Biden's Title IX, and we are against the, all of the Title IX stuff. That's now, don't get that mistaken with Title VII, which is the dollars tied to the food. That's a whole different issue. The Title IX was discrimination based on sex, and they wanted to make sure that their identity and their transgender movement of the schools, by the way, could enact policy to protect those people under the 1964 Civil Rights Act under Title IX. Title IX is based on also biology, and don't quote me on this because I'm not the best with the titles. That's Karen's. Karen went deep diving into this, but what I brought up with Karen and me and her discussed is the problem with Title IX is the Biden administration did not change Title IX. What they did was they reinterpreted it. Well, the executive branch of our government has no authority to change policy based on a reinterpretation. So really, our school board shouldn't have been dealing with this. They should have told the schools to begin with, do not start changing bathroom policies and stuff because this is not law. And we should have had and Karen and I did bring this up to J.D. Vance before he went into at an event in Ashland, is our senator, our congressional senator, our Congress, our House and Senate federally need to sue the Biden administration for this reinterpretation. And it's being litigated. It's been litigated. It's coming back around. So you guys can, chomp at the bit on this one. Next they go into the abortion issue. So we're going to let you listen to that part.
Process of passing a pro-life resolution, because we believe the Republican Party is pro-life. There's multiple debates about this right now on whether we should have exceptions for this or that. But the bottom line is our next meeting is May 5th. We're going to pass a pro-life resolution, whether it's through our platform or whether it's through a resolution, which means same thing. If you're a Republican candidate, politician, you're going to be pro-life. If you're not, hit the road. If you believe in murdering humans, because that's what it is. Murdering humans that's what abortion is. It's not. In Ohio, there's more rules to protect wild turkeys, eagles, than there is humans, and we want to change that. And we feel like passing the pro-life resolution is a step forward.
Now you just heard Jake say there that they're going to this week pass a pro-life resolution. If you're a Republican and you're not pro-life, or you don't vehemently go on their side and state whatever they're stating, then you are against them. And I do want to say this about the State Central Committee passing resolutions. I understand maybe a 2A resolution or a health autonomy resolution, or a parents' bill of rights, education rights resolution. But this abortion petition that is going around that everybody is up in arms about, I will say this, and Karen and I have discussed this, and it is 3 different topics on one petition. That is unconstitutional in the state of Ohio. they have 3 separate topics on one petition. So they are being sued right now, and it's gonna go up to the courts, and they're gonna deal with it. And I will be very surprised if they don't allow this petition to go on if it's not, shot down in other means by people not participating or signatures, whatever. Or even a and if it does pass, we can do a referendum and get it removed as well. So there's I think so. Don't quote me on that. There's stuff we could do here though, and you all might hate me for saying this, but I am a realist. It is a known fact that the pro-life voters, and I started having my kids at 19. You know what I mean? So I am for life, but I'm also a woman, and I am not going to sit here and talk about people that this has personally affected in my life by decisions they made. I think that's disrespectful. I don't really think this is a conversation that we need to, I don't think it's appropriate. And I think we're going to lose a lot of our base this way too. Not everybody is so far right. And especially the younger generations coming up, because I think Sabrina and Jake, I think you guys got like at least a decade on me. And I will tell you this, that is a really sensitive topic. And it's also, I feel for people that even, had an abortion, have regret, whatever. I think it's really disrespectful to them just to be like, you're a horrible person if you know what I mean? You're not God. Let God deal with that. But the petition, fight against it. But we'll get to the next point of that here in a minute.
What date it was? Our last Central Committee meeting was in January or February. We passed a censure. We censured 22 state reps who voted with the Democrats, who voted with 35 Democrats to elect Jason Stephens as Speaker. This was a censure to basically to reprimand the state reps who went against their word, because Kevin can support this because he was a part of it. Kevin got censured. But these state reps went to caucus in November, gave their word to their fellow other 67 Republicans and said, we're going to vote for Derek Merritt. That was in November, end of November. Come January, 22 changed their mind and voted for Jason Stephens. 22 Republicans voted with 35 Democrats to elect our Speaker. What was traded was the backpack bill, because Jason Stephens had to give something to the Democrats to get them to vote with him. He said they said they would not bring forward the backpack bill, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's the bill that gives the money follows the child, basically, and it would give homeschoolers even could get that money. I'm not sure if I would have supported the backpack bill the way it was written at that point, because I feel like it needed some more details to protect homeschoolers, but it's a good thing. The backpack bill is a good thing, and most everyone, actually I think Kevin even said he supported it, so it's surprising that you went for this deal. But the other one was joint House resolution.
So now we're getting into the censure of the 22 Republicans at the State Central Committee meeting. Karen and I were at that State Central Committee hearing, and it was at the end of the very, very long day. And they give this great speech. They have this censure. They want to unite as a party against this, teach these guys a lesson. Great. What I don't like, we have what's called due process. If the State Central Committee wanted to do that, they should have hauled all these 22 people up to the State Central Committee meeting and let them at least explain themselves. Due process. And so a woman there actually said that. I do remember that. Now, their censure had teeth in it, which means when you see that, like your censure had teeth, is they they had originally, in the original censure that they put in to be adopted and be voted on, they had no in-kind contributions. They had a bunch of other, like, actual, like, we're not going to support you. They had what we call teeth. They had some to the censure. That's not what they passed. In order to pass the censure, they agreed to take out all of the punishment. So what they passed was nothing but a bunch of word salad and bad boy. It really honestly didn't mean anything. And what's not fair is, as much as 22, it's something to get them right now. I feel like this whole thing is something to get them a little bit of recognition. But regardless, they did not allow these 22 people to speak for themselves. And as we all know, there's two sides to a story. Context is everything. I'm not defending the Blue 22. I am not defending the other side. I am not defending the Democrat. I don't care. Like, what I'm saying is what they're stating is not true. And I'm going to let you guys now listen to Dick Stein, who is not a Blue 22, who is my House representative in District 54, and DJ Swearingen, who just happens to be my city's House representative in District, I believe it's 83 now. It was 63 last action. But I live in Vermilion, so half is Lorraine County, half is Erie. So DJ and Dick are both kind of my representatives, because DJ was school stuff, because my school's in Erie County, whatever. So we're going to let you listen to them. It's about 5 minutes. Let's listen to Dick. Let's listen to DJ. Make your opinion. But let's listen to both sides and then form an opinion.
Is to maybe give a little bit of a chronological timeline of what happened and also what is traditional. Typically after a fall election in November, the caucus, the dean of the caucus would call a committee meeting, basically the group of Republicans, to determine who we'd like to support for Speaker of the Ohio House. It's typically done every 2 years. And in the last cycle, that happened to be with Representative Cupp. And this cycle, there were three opponents, actually four. A fourth one dropped out prior to the votes. And so, yes, there was a week or 10 days after the election, we had a caucus called, a meeting called amongst the 60. We thought at that time 68. Since then, one was removed because then it was a close call, and it ended up they were not actually elected. And so we had 67 members that we currently have. But in the first round of voting, it's a secret ballot. Everybody's given a slip of paper, and you simply write the name of who you would like to support for Speaker. Now, the backstory on that is all summer long for the prior year, we've had those three, and actually four, out campaigning, visiting with each of us, trying to solicit their support for Speaker, which is the right thing to do, to let us know what their policies are, what their priorities are, and whether those priorities align with ours. In the end, on the day of the vote, it was Representative Plummer, Representative Marin, and Representative Stevens, who were the three that we're going to be voting on. In the first round of voting, Representative Plummer came out short. He had 19 votes. I don't remember the count specifically for the other two, but he was the least vote getter. And as a result, he was removed from the list. And then immediately following that, a second vote took place. And in that vote, Representative Marin came out ahead by a few votes. And again, I'm not sure, I don't recall, it was like 35 to something. We didn't have every member there that day, if I recall correctly. We were short maybe one or two, but it came out to several votes ahead for Rep. Marin. Someone in the crowd, I don't remember who in the caucus, asked for unanimous consent. Everybody stood, clapped, and offered their support, which is typical, so that we had the unity and would know that going into session in January for swearing-in day and for that vote, that we'd have a block that was going to support Derek. In the weeks that followed, Derek worked diligently to try and put his cabinet together, to put his leadership policy team together, to set up committees, committee assignments. And through all of that, lost, his father passed away shortly, about a week before, so he had a lot on his plate. But ultimately, Derek was Speaker-elect. He was given At that point, the authority to start looking and look at policy people. People were hired from around the country and around the state from other agencies to fill policy positions on his team. And ultimately, some of those folks lost their job simply because on January 3rd, the caucus did not keep their promise, did not keep their vote. And ultimately, by 22 of our fellow Republicans siding with the Democrats, they elected Jason Stephens instead of Derek, who had been, we assume the speaker based on that vote we took in early November.
Of how that process works too for people listening, and I would imagine are largely unfamiliar. So the speaker's race is usually a year-long process, sometimes even longer, where representatives who are interested in leading the House as speaker run for the position effectively. And it's a little different campaign because you're looking for votes from the members themselves, not necessarily the general public. So in this speaker's race, we had 4 individuals running for speaker. We had Jason Stephens, Derek Barron, Brian Baldridge, and Phil Plummer. And, for about a year, most of them went around to their colleagues, lobbying them for their vote, explaining to them why they're the guy for the job effectively. And you also try to back that up with actions. So to show that you can, be a good legislator, get good policies done, stand for Ohio values, raise money, you go around, you try to urge your colleagues to vote for this person and give them the reasons why. And it ultimately leads up to caucus vote in November or December, right before the new General Assembly begins. So in this case, we had that caucus in November. You do voting by round voting. So there's the first round, the lowest vote getter falls off. The second round, the lowest vote getter falls off, and so on until you get a winner. And the first round, Jason was the highest vote getter with 25 votes. Derek had 23 votes, and Phil Plummer had 19 votes. And at that point in time, Brian Baldridge had thrown his weight behind Phil Plummer and kind of joined forces with him. So he wasn't voted on during the caucus. And as we went into the second round, as we found out, Phil and Derek tried to put their votes together to beat Jason, which is totally, it's legitimate. That's politics. It's how it works. So Phil and Derek teamed up. They got 36 votes together, which ultimately turned into 35 because one of the individuals who was in the caucus voting lost his race once the results were certified. And that was unfortunate because I think he would have been a really good member. And Jason got 31. So at that point, Jason lost by technically 4 votes. And I think it's important to note that because Jason got those votes on his own, and it took 2 other people to combine their votes to put them over the edge.
Yeah.
So again, totally legitimate. And
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it. That's how it works in politics. However, there's this sentiment out there that Jason never had a lot of support or something along those lines. He actually most votes on his own the first round, and darn near came close to beating 2 people in the second round. So I say that just to say that there were a lot of Republicans that supported Jason Stephens, and they had good reasons to.
Joint House Resolution 6, which ran out of time, but Joint House Resolution 6 was a proposal that would have changed the threshold for anyone to change the state constitution. Currently, it's 50%. It takes a 50% straight majority to change the state constitution. Joint House Resolution 6 was a proposal to change that from 50% to 60%. Because the United States is 66, I believe, 66% to change the United States Constitution. So we believe passing that prevents this thing the liberals are trying to do to make abortion on demand in Ohio. Right now, the liberals are going around passing a petition. They're passing a petition around to make abortion a constitutional right. And it may get on the ballot, who knows? Right now, if Joint House Resolution 6 did not make it. It was stalled because Stevens traded that. Currently, today, or actually I think it was yesterday, the Senate passed Senate Resolution 2. Senate Resolution 2 is the exact same thing. And it says we're going to change this threshold from 50% to 60%. It got put to the state. The state house has to decide if they're going to go against. If Stevens is going to go against what he traded to Allison Russo, you're going to find out in the next couple of days. Or you're going to find out if Kevin will change and switch over. And if Kevin would change his vote, I think that would solve a lot of things. But currently, what's going on at the State House is ushering in abortion on demand in Ohio. And I don't hate Kevin. I don't hate the Miller family whatsoever.
We don't either.
No, I know you don't. We are passionate about life, and we're always going to stand up for life. And I think Republicans should. We have censured at the state party. You guys have the choice if you want to censure the Republicans and send a message that you don't vote with Democrats. I don't hang out with Democrats. I don't make deals with Democrats.
I think it's enough.
That's your decision.
So Jake is making an accusation that HB 11, which is the backpack bill, it's not 10, and the Senate Joint Resolution 2, House Joint Resolution 1, which is the 60% increase in your constitution, it was the reason to combat this abortion bill, was the reason they voted with the Democrats. And I'm going to tell you this right now. No, it's not. Do I know the reason? No. But I know for a fact that backpack bill, because DeWine was talking about it in February, that if it would come to his desk, he was going to veto it, that it wasn't getting passed. Secondly, we knew that because it wasn't in the budget bill. And if it's not in the budget bill, it's not getting paid for, which means it's not what? Passing. So that had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the 22. The next thing he goes into is the House Joint Resolution 1, Senate Joint Resolution 2, which is the 60% to do a constitutional amendment instead of the 50% plus one, Jake. 50% plus one, and you need signatures from 50% of the counties. Now, Senate Joint Resolution 2 is the 60% alone, right? It's you need a 60% increase, a 60% vote to get a constitutional amendment. Okay. The House Joint Resolution 1 changes the percentage of counties you need as signatures in to 100%. Now, I don't know how many of you have been down all over Southern Ohio and seen even upper Northwest and even upper Northeast. Like, there are some really rural counties that it's going to be very hard for a citizen to then have a citizen-led petition to change a law, to recall a bill, because now you're going to have to acquire signatures. And we brought this up in our Dick Stein interview on Mean Street News, which is available on Google, Spotify, iHeart, whatever. You can go listen to it. I have DJ and Dick Stein. We brought this up to Dick though, and he agreed, like that's a problem. So if they are going to pass this, I'm going to say this right now, rip that 100% signatures, because that's not, Jake, that is not going to help anyone. That is going to make it damn near impossible to get a citizen-led petition passed and a referendum passed, because you're going to have to get signatures from every single county. And then what if those signatures get recalled? It's stupid. All for an abortion bill, when you guys all might hate me for saying this, right to life voters don't vote unless there's an abortion issue on the ballot. It's just statistics. They are not a huge voting populace. So if we pass this resolution in your central committee and you're going to hold your legislature, they're going to lose their voting base. And you're basically like trying to blow up the party over your goals. And it's clear, but you're wrong. Plain as day, you're wrong. And you're giving, as any Democrat would say, misinformation. You know what I mean? Because it's misinformation. It's not true.
State party, you guys have the choice if you want to censure or you're going to find out if Kevin, I don't hate Kevin, I don't hate the Miller family whatsoever.
We don't either.
No, I know you don't. And I think Republicans should. We have censured at the state party. You guys have the choice if you want to censure the Republicans and send a message that you don't vote with Democrats. I don't hang out with Democrats. I don't make deals with Democrats.
I think it's enough.
That's your decision.
I think it's enough. First of all.
So now he says, in order to, prove that you don't vote with Democrats and that your county aren't Democrat Republicans, I would suggest censuring these people. Now, before I let you see this man, who rightly so, because I believe he's a chair of one of the counties they represent, because if you don't know what a state central committee person is, because most people don't, and I do not hold that against you, but that is our state party. It is a political party. You have a county central committee, who is your county political party, Republican, Democrat, whatever, you have two. Now, your control, the way our republic is set up, is county, state, then the legislature, then the Senate, then the governor. That's how it's set up. You have county control. So you have these county parties to represent your needs. So you vote for what's called county central committee, even if you vote for them, even if you don't, or you just ignore it and don't fill it in. They don't get many votes, like 30, and it's ridiculous. But we need to get involved there. And as the chair of the Lorain County Young Republicans, I'm urging anybody watching this from Lorain County to step up and step in. Because we have the characters like this.
That's your decision.
Ooh. Didn't mean to hit that. Characters like this coming into my party in Lorain County. And it's, Karen and I call them chaos coordinators. And it's so funny because we're doing a podcast on either tomorrow or Monday, and you'll see why. But they're chaos coordinators. They come in and they tell everybody all this stuff, and it's not really true. There's little truths in it, little nuggets here and there, but they're not giving you the full story. And they're doing it to build their base while hating on people like Karen and I, who are just like, I'm not going to tell you how to feel. I'm going to give you the information. You do what you want with it. But since we're not on the group think, and honestly, I think most of them are Democrats. I'm not saying that they're Democrats because that's their thing, but there's a couple of people that I'm just like, you hate this party so much. I'm not saying we don't have problems, but at some point we all have to act like, and I want to say effing right now, but effing adults. There's people you don't like in business. You still have to work with them. There's people you don't like in social situations. You still have to be an adult and deal with them. You can't go running around screaming at like, it's getting that, as much as they think they have this it's getting you nowhere fast. And no offense, people are sick of hearing it, especially when you don't explain shit appropriately. So let's continue. This man is going to get upset. Do not judge him off of the upset. He has been dealing with these people for a while, and these people who are supposed to be representing him and his county are now saying, didn't even talk to him before they censured their state rep in the first place. Not appropriate. They, as the representatives at the state for our party, should have came down and talked to each one of their chairs and said that three county chairs and said, how do you feel about this? How does your committee feel about this? And we're going to go represent your needs because our constituents voted you in to represent them at the county level, and they voted us in to represent us at the state level. And that's what we're going to do. No. That's not what these people do. Is whatever, that's not. They follow the it people or their little group of their echo chamber, because that's what it is. It's an echo chamber, and it's not based in reality, because I don't think any of you really read this stuff. So if you don't, go on my new podcast. I that's why I'm doing it. So I read it so you guys don't sit here and talk about stuff that you don't know. But I read these bills. I don't even give you an opinion. I read the analysis. I read the fiscal analysis, and I read the new language. But then, Jake, Sabrina, you can maybe listen to this and not just be like, oh, it's a 60% increase. No, it's not. They want to make you the citizen now, and whoever else wants to do a petition now have to require signatures from all the counties. That's impossible in some of these counties. It's not impossible, but it makes it really, really effing hard. All over one issue. You're going to... Let's continue. Don't judge these people off of them getting upset. That's what they want you to do. And they're not going to show you the full video, which is why I am.
I think it's enough. First of all, there's good and there's bad Democrats. Not every Democrat is a bad person. You know, this county, I'm real good friends with the Democrats. Chairman, I think to make things work good, everybody's got to learn to work together. And you have got on me and got on me about censoring this person, censoring that person. In the past, my state Senate committee person I always had would call me, and he'd say, Doug Wills, he'd say, what do you think we ought to do here? What's your guys' opinion on stuff that's going on in the state Senate committee? You never asked me. You guys just went and censored everybody, and you got a good, how do I want to say this? I'm trying to be, Sheriff, if you're running for office,
I have 8 times.
do you tell Democrats not to vote for you?
Actually, I took out an ad the first time I ran and asked people to make the right choice. And I didn't care what their politics was, to switch over to vote. I had a loyal friend of mine, was Charlie Ardinetti, the Democratic chairman here, that we all love beer right here, told me, he said, you stole 600 votes from my party in my first race. How did you do that? And it was because people supported the candidate they wanted. And in this county, we've always worked together.
We work together. I think the State House has to work together. Everybody can disagree on certain things, but it is the high House of Representatives, not the high House of Republicans. And then, you know, you brought up a thing about Mr. Householder, that he did the same thing and all this stuff. That's not
I don't think it's the same thing.
No, you have it on your Facebook, and you guys, now come on now.
That was Jeff Fix.
You shared it.
Yes.
And you agree, my daughter's, let's listen.
I shared
You
it.
shared it because you believed it.
No, I shared it to mock Jeff Fix because I think he's dead wrong.
That ain't how it was
Watch
read.
that video. He's dead
I
wrong.
watched the video, let's not go there. You said some things and everything else about Larry. And first of all, Larry's strong here, regardless. But, you know, that was smart. You talked about your guy that you wanted might be a nice guy. You know, that you wanted for, nobody's contacted me and asked to get any support down here. But he made deals with the Democrats too.
Larry?
No.
Larry, are you talking about Larry?
No, I'm talking about the guy that got beat. He had an agreement with
I'm not
him.
sure what Derek Marin did.
Yeah,
It's not about Derek Marin or Jason Stevens.
So
It's about,
you're telling me both of them guys shouldn't ask for any Democrats to support it.
we didn't need it. We have 67 Republicans.
Not when you have two people running against each other.
They had made a deal in November. This is the difference about this and Larry. Is
I'm
Larry?
not gonna argue no more.
Steve,
But
we
no,
sent you an
I'm
email.
not.
First of all, if you're gonna speak,
I got all the emails.
which
Plus-
was what we asked
plus I
you
sent
about
it
the
to you.
censure. We sent it to you.
And I told you we
also-
was not gonna do it. I talked to the Central Committee here in a meeting. He
No,
now
before
listen,
the meeting-
don't interrupt.
Before the
He
meeting.
texted me the next morning
Before
and
the
asked me
meeting.
if my group was a bunch of Democrats.
Before
You want
the
to see it
meeting.
on the phone?
Yeah, I know he sent
Yeah,
that.
well, why would you say such a thing then?
I'm saying because you guys didn't censure Kevin and you should
So
have.
I'm a Democrat because I didn't censor somebody as my state rep?
We were asking if that's what you're doing.
I said we wasn't doing it. He accused me of being all my group
He
being
didn't. He
Democrats.
asked a question.
He said, are you people all Democrats?
That's a question.
That is a terrible thing to say.
You just,
Calm
Steve,
down.
Steve, you just
That's
said you don't mind
unnecessary.
dealing with the
I
Democrats.
know, but you accused my group of all Republicans
Well,
being
I
Democrats.
asked the
Like,
question.
You
with the
didn't,
Democrats,
you
do
didn't
not?
get your way.
That's
No,
not true.
I don't care. You
That's
guys,
not true.
I just presented it to you guys. Do
That's
what
not
you
true.
That's what
want.
you
It does
did.
not matter to me whatsoever
Well,
if
then,
you censure
why
Kevin
do
or
you
not.
send me email after email?
I think
Because
it,
we want you to know what's going
I want
on.
I know what's going
You
on.
don't know what's going
Listen,
on.
Okay.
Steve, listen, one more, one more thing. I just want you guys to know the truth, because I believe in the next 2 weeks, the truth is gonna come out. Allison Russo is gonna support what we're saying here tonight, and I would like you guys to make the right decision and be on the right side of this. But if you don't want to,
Okay, I'll call for a vote right now. Anybody want to censor our state rep? We've discussed that before. Everybody knows where I'm standing. Anybody want to make a motion?
Okay, so before we let Kevin now get into and do his thing with them, I'm going to tell you this. That guy has every right to be this upset. And he said it perfectly. Derek Meehan didn't come down to the county and speak to us. And tell us what's going on. The guy that got beat or the guy that won. Why aren't they down here? All you are is a political party. And you guys are running around acting like legislators. You're not a legislator. If you want to be a legislator, run for legislator. And you guys, Sabrina and Jake, the ones that are supposed to be representing us and our needs, and down here at the county, because we have the power. They are the hierarchy here. You guys don't even ask us how we feel. And you're running around calling us Democrats now. And I'm going to tell you this, it's very common for the counties to even, like my city's nonpartisan. There's no Democrat, Republicans in Vermillion. In the county, I know for sure, because we have two very urban populations, there's a lot of Democrats. We work with some of them. Some of them are, but some of our right people are. We have to be adults, and we have to set an example, because I'm going to tell you this right now. This example that the Sabrina Warners and the Jakes of the world are setting, they are ripping our party apart, and that's what these people say. You're destroying us from within. It's not us ripping each other apart. It's people like this that give half-truths, that are behind a group, big group of the same people in their own echo chamber and doing the group think. And you all are group thinking for who? And for whose purpose? I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to take what I give you and fact check me, because that's what we're doing right now to you. We're fact checking you. Because you have been wrong on a lot. And your job as State Central is to endorse, promote, and grow the party. What are you, and raise funds? What are you doing? What are you doing? How are you growing the base? Are you getting young Republicans involved? Are you just running around, politicking, calling everybody this, that, and other thing when you're not a legislator? And you don't even approach, it seems like for this video, you don't even approach your county. You don't even ask your county chairs. They're not your boss, but they're your boss. They run their parties and they care about their county. They don't care what's going up on the state so you guys can get your little. They really care about their representatives. So they decided as a county, Whether I like it, whether you like it, whether the dog catcher likes it, they want to keep their state rep. They have every right to do so. Who are you to come in here to their meeting or breakfast or whatever this is and say, yeah, if you're going to stick with them, you know what we're going to do this week. You're just a Democrat. I'm going to tell you this. It sounds just like John Morrow, because John Morrow is doing the same thing in Lorraine County, and he led your little Promise Keepers. Sounds just like him. You guys need to learn that if you, like, let's go back to, it's okay to not always agree. It's okay not to always have the same thought, support the same people. Grow up. And whether you like their decision or not, you don't have to, like my husband says all the time, you don't have to respect the person. You need to respect the position. His constituents put him there, not you two. Now, I'm going to let Kevin do Kevin's thing. The one thing I do want to say is Sabrina steps at him. And it doesn't look good. I think he realized, like, once she did that, like, I think he saw what she was doing, because now she has some picture with him looking like he has her hand in her face. That is not what happened. Watch the whole thing. He's upset, but rightly so, because everything they just brought up, he's a co-sponsor of, which means he supported it. He even got into a committee to vote something out. So you can see where he's upset. And no offense, I don't even think they've talked to him, because they just hurled accusations. You're 22, you're a Democrat. And whatever happened to, and I'm not saying that this is right, but there are other Republicans outside of this 22 that work with Democrats. Let's be real. Grow up.
Or not, or I don't really care. Or Kevin, would you like to elaborate before I go any further?
Yeah. To several items. So first of all, if we want to talk about Democrats, that's nothing. All they do is troll my social media, calling me a Democrat, providing false information just like they did here. So let's talk about the issues that Jake brought up here. Let's talk about the backpack bill. Guess what? Kevin Miller co-sponsored that in the last GA. And guess what? Kevin Miller co-sponsored it again in this GA. Let's talk about pro-life. If you do your facts, you would see that Kevin Miller co-sponsored a bill with Rep. Gene Schmidt in the last GA. I think that would make me pro-life. What do we want to talk about? Guns? Okay, let's see. Constitutional carry. Supported that as well. Supported the bill that also would allow our teachers, if they wanted to, go through the training and the school boards allow them to be armed. Let's see, where else? We can go through everything. HGR1, that's a good one. Let's go to the last GA. Guess who they put in to substitute into the committee to pass that out of committee? Guess who that guy was? Oh, I guess it's the Democrat. Because it was me in the last GA that they put in the committee to vote that out. Guess who didn't get, it's my turn to speak. Guess who didn't get to sign on to that resolution this time? This guy. Because the guy that they like told his folks, oh, don't offer it to the other. So we couldn't even join on to that. I support that. I voted it out. Everything that they say is garbage. Guess who insinuates I'm a pedophile? I spent 22 years in the highway patrol. That's your favorite word, is to call everybody a pedophile.
All right, that's enough. That's enough.
You are crazy.
Show me where I called you a
She needs to get
pedophile.
off space.
Show me where I
That's
called you a
exactly
pedophile.
You're
what
off
these people are. So, I'm done. I don't even respond to them because they're crazy. So, that's all I've got.
So you can see there Kevin Miller is upset, and I think honestly rightfully so, because this is looking like they've already voted to not censure him, and these people are continuing to push this. We have to censure this guy when his county committee, his county parties said no. And if they don't, we're just going to continue to call you Democrats. They're not doing their job. Their job is not to harass the county central committees. Their job is to go to them and say, what do you want to do? I'm here to represent the party and the state level and represent the needs of these counties and these constituents, not what every other county throughout the state thinks, not what some county up north, it's theirs. So if they chose to allow, maybe they think, even if they don't, even like I said, even if I don't agree with them, if we decide we don't like him, we'll get rid of him when we want to, but we made a decision. So then they go again because they're like, you guys just don't get it. They go and make another vote, and they vote to not censure. They all vote. They vote on say no. And Kevin never said that she called him a pedophile. He says, you insinuate everyone's a pedophile. And it's real, I'm not gonna lie, like I've seen like 1,000 of your posts. You throw that term out, like it loses, I'm gonna tell you this, it loses its value the way you throw it out. It loses it might be true for some people, but it doesn't mean anything because you're always fucking saying it. I am so sick of this because it's happening and I'm gonna tell you this, I talked to DJ, I talked to Dick, I told both of them the same thing on how I feel. I told DJ, I get it, you're with Stevens. Like, I get it. But also, and Dick gets it too. They went to a meeting right after that vote in Norwalk, and I'll post it if you guys want to see it, but they said his story didn't waver, his story didn't change, nor did Dick's. And they need to work it out in the House. And if Sabrina and Jake Warner want to run for legislator, more power to you. But this whole, we're state central committee people, who cares? Who cares? Because all we've seen from all of you is nothing but this. And you know what you're all doing for me as the Lorain County Young Republican is making my life harder, getting people in from 18 to 40 because they see this shit all over online and they don't want to join. You're destroying the party that you say you care about. Regardless if you agree with what they did, you weren't there, nor have you taken it upon yourself to get all of the information. Move on. You're not replacing the speaker now. So we're just going to listen to this until 2024? Like, seriously, is everything that they do going to be about this? There are non-22 people that are shadier than them that you should be looking into, not your own agenda, because from a 30,000 foot view right here, that's all you're doing. You're pushing your own agenda. All of you. Sam McGuire too. You posted like a whole 30-second clip, maybe 3-4 minutes of a 16-minute video. Really? And they talk, this is why I call half of them Democrats. Because that's what that side does. That's what the radicals do. They go crazy. They, just throw word salad accusations out there, see what sticks. And I know that right now because John Morrow and Patty Gascoigne are here doing it to me in Lorain County. Patty didn't even live in Lorain County and she's doing this. So I say John and Patty because they're the Promise Keeper leaders. They started that little movement with these people. And and I know for a fact they've been giving them advice. Bad advice. Grow up. Stop running around trying to get your clicks. Start reading some legislation. Go to Informed Ohio, my podcast, Apple, Spotify. I'm reading these bills so you can just listen to the bill and then you can actually form a good opinion. Stop, in my advice to the public, stop listening to these people. If all of them are saying the exact same thing all the time, every grassroots movement leader spouting off the same shit at the same time, stop listening to them. You're in an echo chamber and you're doing groupthink. Groupthink is never good. Karen and I always say we are not your talking head and we source everything. And we give you the sources so you, on your own, can make an opinion. We just want to bring it to light. And these a-holes and beyond have done nothing but censor us and call us rhinos, establishment swamp. We're two moms. I had no want to be in politics 2 years ago, 3 years ago. When 2020 hit and I went to certain organizations, i.e. Protect Ohio's Children, and asked for his help, and went to our board member, Kirsten Hill, asking, questions that no one could ever answer, I got involved. So if you guys want to be like, oh, this girl, she's such a pain in the ass, you can thank Kirsten Hill, Jonathan Broadbent, and the likes of them. Because as a mom, I approached them and no one could help me. So I helped, Karen and I found each other, helped ourselves. With other people as well that I help and whatever. And I'm happy to help anyone. But this bullshit fighting between our own party, knock each other out in the backyard, and stop this public nonsense. And stay tuned, because we have a show on, like I said, either tomorrow night or Monday that all of you are going to want to watch, because we're putting this circus together. Jake, Sabrina, I don't have a personal issue with you two. Kevin Miller, I don't even know you. I just think this is a bunch of bull. And the way she put that picture up, Sabrina as a woman with a son, shame on you. Shame on you. To do that to a man. To make him look like he pressed you. You're just as bad as anyone who cries against a crime against a boy or a man. That's not true. Play the victim. You're not the victim. You're a bunch of assholes running around yelling at everyone. And you sound like idiots because you don't even know what you're talking about half the time. I mean, literally, Jake, you got to start reading this stuff because this is ridiculous. You can barely explain what the bill is. It's not funding the student. I suggest you go to mainstreetoh.com and start reading her content. I just put an article out literally a couple days ago explaining HB 11 and why maybe it's not the best. The concept, beautiful. It's in a bright bow. The package looks awesome. School choice, your kid, da-da-da. The 30,000 foot view, scary as hell. Mr. Miller, any of the Blue 22, regardless, we good. I want the legislator to work together. I want our county parties to work together, because if we don't start showing some unity, we are DOA in 24, regardless of who you're pushing. You might as well put it in a bow for the Dems. Grow up. Start working together, regardless if you like me personally or not, regardless if you like him personally or not. Not everybody is here for super secret shadiness, and not everybody is corrupt. It's honestly ridiculous, guys. It has to stop. This has to stop. If you want to know both sides of the story, go to Mean Street News. Check out Coffee with Karen. Check out Cocktails with Katie. Go to our site, www.mean streetoh.com. Mean what you say what you mean. We're the mean girls. We're going to own it. Come meet us on Mean Street and get some actual true content, true information. I'm really sick of this bullshit. It has to stop. We are a party, whether you agree with us. We all have a goal here, and the way that this is going with this echo chamber of people, the game's over if you guys continue. Wake up and grow up and start acting like the adults you want to be seen as. Because if you think the state central committee is some kind of title, I'm going to tell you this. 95% of the people in Ohio don't even know what that position is. So keep it up. Start worrying about things that matter. And this shit just, it doesn't matter. I think you just enjoy the drama. Stay focused, Ohio. And make sure you watch the whole video when they show little clips like that. Shady.
Talk to the other people you represent.
And
We
have.
do, every day, man, we're in
Every
the
day.
public.
You never,
Ask a question.
okay, it's enough. I don't
Ask a
wanna argue no more.
question.
So if your job is to represent our three counties, then it would seem to me that you would have to consult with your three party chairs. And if all three of your party
They
chairs
don't.
told you not to censure me, then why would you? It seems to me you're not representing the people you were elected to represent.
They told us not to censure after it was done, sir.
Did you ask me ahead of time?
I sent you an email and didn't get a
Yes.
response.
Bullshit.
I got a
Okay, we'll
response.
send it out to you
Bullshit.
guys. We'll send it out to you
First of all,
guys.
let's not talk about emails, text messages, call a person on the phone. Jesus Christ.
Hey, if that's the way you want to communicate, and please
Yes,
don't
I'm
gonna make a motion, hey.
ever again.
Knock it off. I'm gonna make a motion on the floor that we draw a halt to this right now. Call for a second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.